Before I continue, I just want to take a second and say how proud I am of you for having completed the course up until this section. Believe it or not, almost 80% to 90% of applications built in React and Redux followed the exact patterns that we've done up until this point. There's, of course, more complexity and more optimizations you can bring in from other libraries or using other patterns, but the foundation of what we're learning is pretty much all there is to React and Redux. The way that we tackle features and we think about how to break them down and split out the problems and then correspondingly solve them in the existing React and Redux architecture that we are now so familiar with is pretty much the majority of what it's like to build websites in React and Redux. And I'm so proud of you guys for coming up until this point. Now, I will say, we will definitely continue to finesse our basics from this point forward, but we're going to start looking at other perspectives and other ways that we can possibly build upon what we already learned and expand upon the concepts that we are only going to become more familiar with. Now, in this specific section, we're actually going to look at something regarding a slight tweak to our Redux state so that it becomes more performant in what it is that we're about to attempt. So what we want to build next is our category page. And right now, the category is going to pull in one of the collection objects in order to display the items inside. So in our final application, we can see this when we look at our hats page. We see that we've pulled in the hats category and we've displayed the items inside. So let's actually build this into our existing application. And what we'll need to do is actually render inside of our shop page nested routes. Because right now, we mostly have routes at our app level. So if we look at our app.js, we only have routes here. But we can actually put routes in our other components, and they'll start from where that page is being rendered as their base slash. So we'll see what that looks like once we actually start writing it. So let's go to our shop page and look at what we need to do. So inside of our shop component, we actually want to move our collections map into its own component. And once we move it out, we won't need the collections anymore on our shop page component. We're going to tie everything that we need that's attached to our collections previews into a collections overview component that is connected to the state that will get the collections. So let's make that folder now. So inside of our components, we're going to make a new folder called Collections Overview. And inside, we need our Collections Overview. So I'm just going to copy this so I don't make a spelling mistake later. .component.jsx, as well as a collections overview.styles.sass. And we're going to do our usual import React from React, as well as importing in our style sheet. Now, we know we're going to need connect from React Redux. And we also know that we're going to need our create structured selector. Because we're pretty much just going to do everything that we need to do that we've already got in our shop page, except move it into our collections overview. And now we know that our collections overview is going to be a functional component that gets the collections. And then we're going to render a div with the class name of collections overview. And then inside will be our map. So let's go to shop and let's copy this code over and paste it in. Now we also need our collection preview component. So let's bring that in as well. Is our collection preview component? Oh, this is not .component. So let's actually rename this so that it's consistent with our other naming. I think I must have accidentally forgot to put .component there, but no worries. So now that we have our collection preview, we need to connect our collection preview accordingly. So we also need our selector. So we can actually just pull this off as well as this. We know we won't need any of this, so let's just get rid of it. So let's copy this code into our collections overview. And then we're going to call our connect on our map state to props, which is going to connect to our collection overview. For default. And now we're missing our selector, which we'll also copy over. And we will also need to now modify and bring our collections overview into our shop component. Components, collection overview, collections overview component. Okay. Now let's just render just our collections overview. I think we need to also modify our style sheet. And we'll just target our collections overview high-level div component. And we'll give it a display flex and a flex direction of column, just so that all of our content sits vertically. And now if we look at our app, collection preview is not exported from collection preview component. Oh. Don't think we need those brackets. There we go. Okay, so it was a default export. And now if we go to our shop page, right, everything is still working as it was before, except now our collection preview is in its own component. So now for our shop component, what we're going to do next is actually selectively render inside of nested routes, where one route is going to lead us to our collections overview when we're only on shop, right? So nothing but just /shop. But then we'll also render our new category page, which will build when we land on our /category. So let's see how we're going to build that next.